I wanted the deal done and set the deadline and told them it was going to be all ball after that. That's really the disappointing part, to feel undervalued after thinking you've earned it.
Baker Mayfield stood in front of reporters this week and said the quiet part out loud. He feels disrespected, undervalued. After 3 years of being the best version of himself he's ever been on a football field, the Buccaneers didn't come close to paying him like it. So Baker did what Baker always does. He bet on himself.
When it comes to having a chip on your shoulder and all that, it just puts me in the mindset of betting on myself. And that's something I'm pretty familiar with.
That's not just a quote. That's basically his whole career in one sentence. Cleveland and Carolina gave up on him. The Rams claimed him off waivers like he was a discount clearance item. And every single time, Baker Mayfield bet on himself to prove people wrong, and won. Tampa Bay is the receipts. 3 years, 2 playoff appearances, and a locker room that runs through him. But here's the thing, betting on yourself isn't a cheat code, it's a real bet, and real bets can lose, because NFL history is littered with guys who stood exactly where Baker's standing right now, coming off some of the best years of their careers, certain they were about to cash in, and watch the whole thing blow up in their face instead. So which version of this story is Baker actually writing?
Baker, you've words like disrespected, disappointed, undervalued. What value did the team place on you that made you feel that way?
Probably the most disappointing is yours. Didn't get offered anything over 2. When you're told you're a franchise quarterback and they handle it otherwise, that's disappointing.
To understand why Baker Mayfield is doing this again, you have to understand that this is basically the only move he knows. Cleveland drafted him first overall in 2018, and by 2021 they'd seen enough. They moved on. Carolina traded for him in the summer of 2022, hoping he'd be the answer at quarterback. He wasn't, and the Panthers cut him loose before the season was even over. Then the Rams claimed him off waivers, the NFL equivalent of finding something in the clearance bin, just to have a body at the position. That's 3 different organizations deciding Baker Mayfield wasn't their guy in the span of about 4 years. Think about how that actually reads on paper. A former number 1 overall pick, cut loose by 3 different franchises before he turned 30. If you saw that resume with the name blacked out, you'd assume it belonged to a guy heading toward retirement, not a guy about to turn down 9 figures. Then Tampa Bay took a flyer on him in 2023. Not with a big contract, but with a 1-year, $4 million show-me deal. The kind of contract you give a player you're not sure about, not a franchise quarterback. And Baker did what Baker does. He bet on himself again. He started every single game for the Buccaneers that year and led them to a playoff win over the Eagles, before a divisional round loss to the eventual conference finalist Lions ended that first season. Tampa Bay believed enough to sign him to a 3-year, $100 million extension in 2024, and Baker responded with the best season of his career, a career-high 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns, a 106.8 passer rating, completing 71.4% of his passes, and a Pro Bowl nod. That season ended with a wild-card loss to Washington, but the arc was undeniable. Since he arrived in Tampa, the Buccaneers have gone 27-24 with him under center and made the playoffs twice. So when Baker Mayfield says betting on himself is something he's pretty familiar with, he's not exaggerating. It's the only way his entire career has ever moved forward. Real quick, we're a small team putting these NFL breakdowns together. No big studio behind us, just trying to tell these stories the right way. If you're getting something out of this one, subscribing genuinely helps us keep doing it. Which brings us to this offseason and the bet he just made all over again. Mayfield is currently making $33.3 million a year on his existing deal, good for 16th among NFL quarterbacks, well behind what the top of the market pays. He wanted that fixed before training camp. He set his own deadline for a new contract and let the team know it. The Buccaneers came back with a 2-year offer that left Mayfield pretty far from the $50 million a year he was looking for. His deadline came and went. No deal.
That's really the disappointing part, to feel undervalued after thinking you've earned it.
To feel disrespected a little bit, and that's really the disappointing part, to feel undervalued after thinking you've earned it. But notice what he didn't do. He didn't hold out. He didn't sit training camp. He drew a hard line, said his piece publicly once, and then closed the door on the conversation entirely.
Set the deadline and told them it was going to be all ball after that, and I did mean that.
Then he added the line that should worry Tampa Bay more than anything else he said that day.
If you've waited this long to take care of your franchise quarterback, that's too bad, because it's only going to get worse from here.
So now Baker Mayfield is playing out the final year of his contract, a roughly $40 million cap hit, no long-term security beyond 2026. Betting that another strong season pushes his price even higher when he hits the open market in 2027. And here's what makes the timing interesting. This isn't coming off a career year. it's coming off a step back. In 2025, Mayfield threw for 3,693 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions with a 90.6 rating. Solid numbers, but a clear drop from his 2024 peak. The Buccaneers missed the playoffs at 8-9, snapping a 4-year streak of winning the NFC South. That's the backdrop Baker Mayfield chose to walk away from the table on. Not a peak, a question mark. Before you assume this is reckless, understand something. This exact bet has worked before. Kirk Cousins played 2 straight seasons under the franchise tag in Washington, rather than take a discounted long-term deal. Everyone told him he was gambling with his own health and his own leverage. 2 years later, he walked into free agency and signed with the Vikings for 3 years and $84 million. The first fully guaranteed veteran contract in NFL history at the time. The tag became his friend. Dak Prescott did something even bolder. In 2019, the Cowboys offered him a 5-year, $175 million extension. Prescott turned it down, betting he could get more. He played that season for barely $2 million on his rookie deal, then had a career year. 4,902 passing yards with 30 touchdowns. Dallas tagged him the following year, rather than lose him for nothing. 2 years after turning down that first offer, Prescott signed a 4-year, $160 million deal, with a then-record $95 million guaranteed at signing. He became the second highest paid player in football. Both guys looked at a number they didn't like, said no, and came out the other side with generational money. That's the version of this story Baker Mayfield is hoping to write. Prove it again in 2026, and the Buccaneers or somebody else will pay full price in 2027.